You notice Olga is doing some recording here. By the way, this is my wife Olga. She's a judo black belt and jiu-jitsu blue belt. She's been doing this stuff for a long time. She's recording today because we want to put this on our YouTube channel so that you guys can have reference material. Okay? Because a lot of times, you know, I've been to a lot of martial arts seminars. I've done a lot of martial arts seminars. And a lot of times you get flooded with a bunch of information, and at the end of it, you're thinking, pretty cool, I learned a bunch of cool stuff, and then you get out the door and you're like, I don't remember. Right. That's what happens for real. Okay, so also you'll notice the whiteboard over there. I wrote some stuff on there that if you want to, you can take your cell phone and take a picture of that before you leave, right? It talks a little bit about the 4 phases of attack and what we call the triangle of victimization, right? So the triangle of victimization is based on 3 factors that need to be present for an attack to take place, right? 1 is the bad guy, 2 is the victim, and 3 is the opportunity. Okay? If one of those pieces is missing, the attack is not going to happen. Okay? You can be at a grocery store in line right next to a bad guy. It's not the right opportunity. The attack's not going to happen. Okay. But if he follows you in a dimly lit parking lot to your car, opportunity might connect those other 2 things, right? So now you have the triangle. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay. So you can take a picture of that and kind of figure that out. So now we're going to work from a slightly different position. So now we're going to work from what in jiu-jitsu we call the guard position. But basically the attacker is between the victim's legs, still holding the victim down. Okay? Where we are again for this one. So there's a few distinct differences here, right? When I was sitting on top of her, I was on top of her hips. So when she lifted her hips up, it affected my balance. Okay? When we're in the position we're about to be in, I'm not sitting on top of her hips anymore, right? She can use her legs to control the distance a little bit and my posture a little bit, but the bridge that we did in the other escapes is totally neutralized here. It's not going to work, so we don't do the bridge. Okay? And there's lots of things we can do. In jiu-jitsu, sometimes we do what we call sweeps, right? And a sweep means that you use your legs to flip the person over and get on top of them, right? That's more for context, right? So what we're going to do today is what we call guard get up, right? So remember, in self-defense, the idea is to get away, right? To get away from the attacker. So she's going to use some positional advancements to get away from me. Okay, so let's point your head this direction. Right? So we're here. Okay. Now there's a lot of different scenarios that we can address. Right? Maybe I'm trying to choke her. Maybe I'm trying to hit her. Right? There's different things that can be in it. Maybe I'm back to my wristband thing. Okay. But you can see because she does jiu-jitsu, she closed her guard. Right? You guys see that? That's what we call closed guard when she hooks her feet like that. Okay, but that's not going to be entirely useful to her at this point. Okay, so what she's going to do is she's going to make what we call frames. Right, so she's going to frame against my shoulder. So her hands, her arms, kind of stiff arm me right here. Right, because I'm already in a position where there's a little bit of space between us. She wants to keep that space. So she's framing against me right here. And the harder I push, the stronger she is too, okay? Because the way her arms are locked out. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. And then the next thing she's going to do is a movement called a shrimp, and we'll show you what that looks like in just a second. But when she does her shrimp, she shifts her hips kind of out to the side, and she's scooting her hips away from me based off this frame that she had on me, okay? When she extends her hips away from me, she's losing these frames here, but she replaced it with this one. You guys see where her foot kind of naturally fell onto my hip right there. Okay? So now she's here. Now she extends that leg and she's scooted away even farther. Okay, does that make sense so far? Okay. There's a few pieces to this, so I want to make sure we're able to follow along. So right now she's in a good distanced position from me, but she still isn't away. She hasn't gotten away yet, right? So she brings her feet in and she sits up, right? Now, what we're moving toward is she's going to move to get away from me. So she puts her hands down on the mat, she scoots, and she gets up, okay? Okay, but what if I grab her ankles? Okay. We're going to do something called a super slap and an up kick, okay? So be careful with this. Don't slap each other, okay? We're going to simulate it, but it's a big hit right to the ear, okay? So like the palm of your hand to the ear, okay? And we do not feel bad for if we rupture the bad guy's eardrum, okay? That's, again, that's an occupational hazard for them, all right? So let's go back to the beginning. So we're here. She frames, right? She shrimps. That foot goes right there on my hip, and she extends herself away more, right? And now she brings her feet in, and I grab her feet, right? Because I'm fast. Grab her feet. It's hard, we saw that move so fast, right? So I'm here, right? It's hard for her to scoot away from me right now. Okay, I'm going to keep holding on to her. So what she does is she goes, bam, and she hits me. Boom. Either she hits me and I'm going to cover up because, ow, it hurt, or I'm going to try to block it when I see it coming. Either way, I've let go of a foot, right? So with that free foot, she just cocks it back and up kicks me in the face, all right? That's what's going to happen. And then she scoots away. She gets up, right? Technical stand, boom, she's up, all right? So you want to clear some space. You want to get about 5 or 6 feet between you and the bad guy. All right, so you scoot away. All right. So one more time. Can everybody see okay with this technique? Okay. She frames. That's a stiff arm, right? She shrimps. So she's turning on a side. Does everybody see that? She's turning on a side, and that drops this foot right into my hip. And it's still, her leg is still bent right here. She's going to straighten that out and extend herself away a little more. As she starts to sit up, I grab her ankles. She slaps me. Boom. She up kicks me, and she scoots away. All right. What if she's got to kick me more than once? Do it. All right. That's a what if question. What if they don't let go all the way and they kick? Then you didn't kick them hard enough. Kick them again. Right. So don't feel bad about that. Don't kick each other though. Okay. And you need to realize that when you're doing this, that when you do this, that face might be closer than you think. Right? So you want to be cautious with that. We're going to just simulate that, right? And then scoot, get up. Okay. Now, the shrimp, right? So what she was doing was from here, her feet came down to the ground, she's framing on me, and she's going to use one or both legs to kind of turn on your side and push the hips away. Everybody see that? It's actually easier to do with a partner than it is to do it solo, right? Because you have something to push off of. But when that happens, this foot falls onto the hip, and that's when you're going to straighten out, scoot back, sit up, slap, kick, scoot, and get up. And so there's a lot of pieces there, right? But it's important to get away, right? We're not trying to we're not trying to fight this person. We're not trying to have a contest with this person. We're trying to get space and get the heck out of it. Right? Does that make sense? So we'll move into a couple other little scenarios on this in a second. But make sure you have plenty of space between you and your neighbors so that you can actually do a little bit more of a scoot, right, to get away. But and if you're having trouble with it, let us know. The shrimp is probably the most complex part about it at first. And then after you do it a few times, that becomes probably one of the more simple pieces of the puzzle, right? So I'll show you guys one more time. So here, right, my legs come open, I'm on the floor, right, with my feet, framing on the shoulder, sometimes framing on a knee maybe, that's fine too, but I'm framing, stiff arm, right? And then scooting my hips away. I have to turn on my side to do that. Okay? So my shoulder is kind of hinged on the floor. I'm not trying to scoot my shoulder away, jackknifing my body over there. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? It will. Absolutely will. Right? And it'll be easy to remember. Okay? So find the space, make sure you got space, and try to do it maybe 2 or 3 times. Okay?
You're okay.
What if the bad bad guy situation, right? Now, if she tries to dip her head out of this like we did before, that won't work, okay? If she tries the wedge effect, it might work a little bit, it might, okay? But she still has to deal with the positioning, okay? But if all she does is shrimp away, I put that foot on my hip, I can't go after them. My arm's not long enough to go after them, right? And I'm not, the grip doesn't allow me to pull her to me. The grip is a pushing grip, right? So when she scoots away, I can't do anything about it, right? So the first thing you do is you kind of tighten up your neck muscles a little bit, right? And that helps protect your neck a little bit, right? It's not like, it's not the prettiest neck, right? But it's effective, okay? So you tighten up your neck muscles a little bit. Just tension your teeth a bit. And then you just do your shrimp and escape, just like you would normal, okay? So we can try that now a couple times. I'm gonna show you one more time here. So same scenario, right? We're here, she can still frame on me, that's fine, right? And then she still shrimps away. She shrimps, boom, foot goes on my hip, she straightens out, boom, and if we go back to here, we slap, up kick, scoot, scoot to get away. Right, all that stuff's still the same. The only part that was different was what my hands were. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So once you guys try that just a couple times, and then we'll address a couple other things, and then we'll finish up in just a second or two after you get this technique done. Okay. So try it out. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. A little bit of a psychological game. And this, remember, you know, in the third phase of the attack, it's exhaustion. The bad guy's trying to exhaust you, okay? So there's what we call a super lock variation, right? So this is when the bad guy's in that position, but they're pinching down on your hips, they're controlling your hips. So it's hard for you to do your shrimp. It's hard for you to frame, it's hard for you to shrimp, okay? So if you remember earlier, when the situation was reversed and Aaliyah had her head down on me, right? We kind of addressed that. Part of why she was doing that, she's used to it, that's how we hold each other down in positions at times, right? So from here, what's going on is I'm using my arms to kind of lock her hips down. So right now, for her to try to shrimp, it just doesn't work, right? I hold her there, make her tired, okay? So this is where a little bit of acting comes in, okay? Now, the big bad guy that's holding you down is trying to make you tired. Trying to make you give up, okay? So the person on the bottom, you have to, in this situation, the top person is kind of overpowering you. So you have to overpower their mind with your mind, okay? So it's a Jedi mind trick. It's not. You're going to have to fiddle with it. You're going to have to tell them that you give up. You don't really give up, though. It's okay to lie to the bad guy. Okay? It's okay to fib to him a little bit, right? So you're going to tell him that you give up. But here's the trick. Your words are sometimes not enough. Your body language, right? So if I'm holding Aaliyah down here, right, and she says to me, okay, I give up, but I still feel her struggling. I feel her tense up and struggling. I don't believe her. I'm not going to let go. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's kind of, she has to lie to me with her body language a little bit, right? She says to me, okay, I give up, I'll do anything you want.
Okay, I'll give up, I'll do whatever you want.
You can never that. So, listen, it's contagious, it's contagious. So when she relaxes, I relax, okay? And we do this to each other grappling, like all of us, and when we're grappling each other, I call it passive aggressive grappling, right? So you're really aggressive and you relax, and the other person relaxes, and then you escape. Okay? So the same things happen here. So when I relax, right, she frames, she shoots away, and then boom, she finishes up with the rest of the technique. Okay? So there's, like I said, there's a little bit of acting involved there, right? And it's not just verbal, it's your physical body language too. And that's a tough thing to do, you know, in a realistic situation, right? When somebody's really attacking you. But it's about saving your life. So it's important you know, like you have to play possum a little bit. You have to fake it a little bit, right? Just for a second. As soon as she makes her frames, she's escaping, right? But as long as I'm there and I'm holding on really tight, she can't make those frames. Okay? As soon as she says, okay, I give up and I feel relaxed and I relax, boom, she's out of there. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. So let's try that a couple times. So what I'm doing, let me draw you again. What I'm doing from the top, and you guys like say stuff to each other from here too, right? So practice using your words and your body language, right, to communicate to the top person. The top person, when you feel them relax, that's when you're going to relax, and that's when they're going to make their escape. Okay. So but when I'm here, look my elbows. I kind of walk in on her hips right here, like I'm trying to connect my elbows and my knees, and this immobilizes her hips. Okay. And then from here, I might have my head down low, right? Whatever, doesn't matter. I might be, you know, bad guy might be trying to keep from getting their eyes scratched and poked and whatnot. So they're hiding their head, okay? So, or not, right? I can still have my head up and still pinch the hips in, okay? But she says to me, I give up, I'll do whatever you want, right? And then she relaxes her body. When she relaxes her body, I relax mine. She frames, she pushes. Well, that's it, she's gone. Okay? It's hard for me to catch up with that. Does that make sense? Okay. So try that out. And like I said, speak to each other a little bit. And speak with your body language to each other too. Okay? Try it out just a couple times. 1, 2, 3, go.